Om Jnanatimandasya Kananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Malatam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Bhakti Mala, would you like to read the English for that, please?
I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my scripture master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. After my respectful obeisances under him.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah.
Okay, we're reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, entitled Dhyana Yoga, text number 47, which is the last verse of the chapter. And we had a little bit of a insight into that last week. We read this verse, just the Sanskrit and the translation, because it was connected with last week's verse, text 46. So Krishna's saying in this section the different levels of transcendentalists, of different practitioners, of different paths, and establishing that the persons that are most dear to him are the yogis, are more dear to him, are more greater than the empiricists. Remember, the ascetic. The first he says the yogi is great. This is 46 from last week. Yogi is greater than the ascetic. So remember, ascetic is a person that's performing austerities. That's what an ascetic is, performing austerities. And then the person performing austerities is greater than the empiricist. So that means the mental speculator, the jnani, the mental speculator. And the mental speculator is greater than the fruitive worker, the karmi. So you have the tapasvis, that means performing austerities, and then you have the jnanis, the mental speculators, and then you have the karmis, the fruitive workers. And in this verse today, 47, is going to explain the topmost of all yogis, different levels of yogis. So the topmost yogi. So we can read the verse. Yoginam api sarvesham.
Yoginam api sarvesham.
Madgante nantaratmana.
Madgante tanaratmana.
Shraddhavan bhajate yomam.
Shadva bhajante yovam.
Same yukta tamo mata.
Same yukta tamo mata.
We'll read this a few more times. It's a very important verse. Yoginam api sarvesham.
Yoginam api sarvesham.
Madgante nantaratmana.
Madante nataratmana.
Shraddhavan bhajate yomam.
Shadvam bhajate yovam.
Same yukta tamo mata.
Same yukta tamo mata.
Yoginam api sarvesham.
Yoginam api sarvesham.
Madgante nantaratmana.
Madgante nataratmana.
Shraddhavan bhajate yomam.
Shadavam bhajate yovam.
Same yukta tamo mata.
Same yukta tamo mata.
I was just reading a letter this morning that Prabhupada wrote saying that from now on, I think this was about 1971, he said from now on we will have classes in every temple around the world on the Srimad Bhagavatam, and we will read one verse a day. We'll read one verse a day, and we will recite the Sanskrit at least several times so that the devotees can learn the verses. So that was the idea. Why in classes they keep repeating the verse at least several times, the person speaking will speak it several times and everyone responds, and then other people in the audience are welcome then to repeat it as well, to lead. Well, the idea is repeating it so many times it's just going to get drummed into our head so that we'll remember the verse. Because that's perfection, that you can, these are the words of God, you know, so if you can remember these words, these verses, it's very good for us. Then we'll be associating with God and remembering his words. So it's very nice to remember these verses. Okay. Bob, would you like to read the translation, please, the English?
And of all yogis, the one with great faith who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself and renders transcendental loving service to me, he is the most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. That is my opinion.
That is my opinion. Wow.
Yeah. And this is the opinion that counts. Remember, we're talking about that. Krishna's opinion counts more than anyone else's.
Of
He's
course,
God. He's the
it's not
boss.
opinion, it's just everything.
He's the CEO. He's the controller. So you've got hundreds or thousands of other people's different opinions. Of course, we're all individuals, so every one of us has a different opinion, and that's natural because we are individual. It's not expected that we're all going to think exactly the same way, because we are eternally, not just now that we're conditioned and that we're different, and it's not that when we get liberated, go back to the spiritual world, we're all going to become the same. No. Even there in the spiritual world, we go back to Krishna in the spiritual world, we're still going to be individuals. We're still going to be different. But the difference is in the spiritual world that although everyone's different, but everyone cooperates together, everyone works together to please
Krishna.
themselves. No.
Krishna.
Yeah, they're pleasing Krishna. You know, everyone, even though they're all different, you know, millions and millions of souls, they're all different, unique, and they all think different ways. They have different ideas of how to do service, but they all work together to please Krishna. So they put aside, you know, their differences, you know, for the pleasure of Krishna. Okay, I like to make the halava this way, and you like to make the halava a different way, but we're not going to fight about it because we want to please Krishna. So Krishna can enjoy the halava that I make, and he can also enjoy the halava that you make. You know, because Krishna is unlimited, so he can accept hundreds of different halavas, you know, thousands of different kitcheries, you know, millions of different garlands, you know, thousands of kirtans and, you know, different instruments. And, you know, so he can take all of our services, you know, they're all different. And it's not that we're the best at doing the service. It's not about who's the best, but that everyone's just trying their best. Everyone's putting their heart into their service. There's that story from the Ramayana where they were building the bridge across from the southern tip of India to the island of Lanka, where Ravana had taken Sita, the wife of Lord Ram, so had been taken there. So they were building a bridge, a floating bridge. There's they would chant the name of Ram on the rocks before they threw it into the ocean. And whatever rock had the name of Ram recited, that rock would float, so it wouldn't sink. Because in the beginning, all the rocks sunk, and then of course you don't get a bridge. So then they got the idea, we'll say the name Ram. So by the power of Ram's name, even the rocks would float. So all different kind of devotees were helping to build the bridge. So there was one small creature like a squirrel kind of thing, and he was just putting little sort of grains of sand and things to help make the bridge. And Hanuman, the big monkey, was firing in massive boulders and mountain peaks and everything like that. So quantity-wise, there's a big difference. You know, Hanuman was doing a lot of quantity, and the squirrel was doing a little bit of quantity. And Hanuman was a bit proud, and he said, "Oh, what are you doing?" You know, to the squirrel. "Yeah, hardly anything. You know, look at me. I'm throwing in these big mountain peaks, and you're just putting in a little bit of sand." So he was a bit proud and critical of the squirrel, criticizing his service. And Ram overheard. So he got on Hanuman's case and said, "Look, you know, you're both devotees. You know, you're trying your best according to your capacity, and the squirrel's trying his 100% best according to his capacity. So I see both of your services exactly the same. You know, you're giving 100% and the squirrel's giving 100%. So as long as everyone's trying their best, you know, to serve according to their capacity, and we all have different capacities because we're all different. We're all individual. We don't have the same abilities or strengths or intelligence or anything. It's all different. But as long as we use whatever we have. What's that?
Little part of the story you missed it. I think
Okay,
before
tell.
saying that when they started doing the bridge, Hanuman says that first stone, Ram, you have to put it the first rock. You have to do that from your hand.
Yeah.
And he put
Yeah.
it that and he drowned. And then he says, "Oh well, how can we make a bridge?" And then he says, "Oh, like then we started writing a name and the Rama and then flood in there." He said, "What happened there?" Then they were saying, the Hanuman says that, you know, the things you throw, they're not gonna survive. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If
Ram
God
rejects
something,
that, they cannot be survived. So they put the name on it, then it survived. Then it's floated.
Yeah. We don't want to be rejected by God. That's not
No,
very
if rejected by God, there's no
be
chance.
thrown away by
No
God.
chance at all. Not stone, not anything.
So it's very nice lessons we get in the pastimes. Yeah, so we're still going to be individuals in the spiritual world, but the difference is in the spiritual world, then everyone cooperates together. And even though we have different ideas and everything like that, but we all work together. Whereas in the material world, we're different, but there's a lot of quarrel, isn't it? That's what Kali Yuga means, right? The age of quarrel, hypocrisy. So there's a lot of the differences are there, but it creates a lot of quarrel on that because we don't have the right central point. We don't have Krishna as the central point. That's what's missing in the material world. If we don't have Krishna in the center of our relationships, then the relationships don't work very well. And that's the secret of fixing up all our relationships. You know, if we have relationship issues and problems or whatever, this can all be sorted out if we just put Krishna in the center. You know, between husband and wife, you know, there might be some difficulties, but you put Krishna in the center. Or, you know, the parents and the kids like that, or the boss at work and the workers and the workmates and, you know, like that. So whether it's amongst superiors and inferiors or equals, people on equal levels, you know, there can be different problems. But if we put Krishna in the center, then all these things can be resolved, you know, because we have a common cause. We have something to unite, isn't it? Something to unite us. Even though we're different, but we're united. We need to find something that can unite us. What's the best thing that can unite everyone? That's God. Because we all have God in common, isn't it? Even though we're all different, but what do we all have? What's the one thing we all have in common?
We have got hunger, all in common. Everybody gets hungry. Animal, human, you, me, Bob, Bhaktimala, Prabhuji, Jayanti, everyone. Hungry is a common.
Yes, that's true.
And it's Agni. Agni in the tummy is still Krishna.
Yes, yeah. And we all have the same Father, you know, of the soul, is God, is Krishna. So we naturally, you know, the purpose of the children is to please their parents, and then they're all going to be happy. So that's what unites the children. They all have the desire to please the parents. If they don't have the desire to please the parents, then it can be a very uncomfortable relationship in the house, isn't it? In the house, because the parents are in control like that. So this verse is saying that those that are most intimate with Krishna. So this is talking about love. Who has the most loving relationship with Krishna are the devotees. They're always, what are the qualities of the devotees? That is saying here, they have great faith in Krishna. Shraddhavan, they have great faith. And they always abide in me, in Krishna. So like we were saying last week, the devotees see that everything is within God. Like remember last week we were talking about how Mother Yashoda looked in Krishna's mouth and saw everything inside Krishna's mouth. So everything, remember, abides means, what did we say the meaning of abide was? You remember what we said the definition of abide?
Live within.
Yeah, where you live. That's where you live. Like we say that Bob abides in Newcastle. Gulshan abides in Newcastle, like that. So that's where you live. So everything is living inside of Krishna. So the devotees, they understand that everything is within Krishna. Nothing is separate from Krishna. And the devotees are always thinking of Krishna within themselves. You know, they might be doing whatever work, gardening or cooking or working in some office or factory, but within themselves, they're always thinking of Krishna. So it might seem like the devotee is the same as anyone else, that the guy next door is working and the devotee is working, and they're doing the same activities externally, you know, like Gulshan's working in a restaurant, and just down the road, there's another restaurant. So what's the difference between they're working in the restaurant down the road and Gulshan's working in the restaurant? The difference should be that Gulshan is thinking about Krishna. You know, that, you know, he's going to...
The difference is both we are given a food, but they are given a food, we're given a prasadam.
Yeah. So there's an additional step that instead of just cooking and eating, you know, the cooking is going on, that's the same. But you're cooking with love also, that's an additional thing. And then you're offering it to Krishna. You're offering it to Krishna and then distribute it to everyone. So there's some additional Krishna consciousness there. So the devotees are thinking about Krishna, that I'm going to work for Krishna today. I'm going out to work for Krishna and I'm going to try to please Krishna. And you're remembering his names and his pastimes and his qualities and so forth. So you're using your mind, you're thinking about Krishna, and also rendering transcendental loving service. That's what a devotee does. And that's all the things we do with our body. We're doing some activities with our body. That's our service. Bhajate. And remember, there's 9 different processes of devotional service. There's Shravana, means hearing about Krishna. And Kirtana means chanting about Krishna. It means talking about Krishna or saying his names. And Vishnu Smarana means remembering Krishna. And does anyone remember some of the other processes, the 9 processes? These are the first 3.
Listening, speak.
All the way to the samadhi.
Now that's
different.
Yeah, that's the result of doing service, but these are the different ways you can serve.
One is the pastime of Krishna.
Yeah, you can remember the pastime, so that's remembering. So you can remember his pastimes and so forth.
Listening, speaking.
Yeah, so that's what we've just been saying.
Association.
Someone is hearing about Krishna, someone's talking about
How
Krishna,
about the
someone's
service?
remembering Krishna.
Service.
Yeah, so that's dasyam.
Dasyam.
Dasyam means rendering menial service. That's an example of that is Hanuman was rendering menial service to
And
Krishna.
what's the Pad Sevan?
Yeah, very good. Pada. So the example of that is Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune. So that's worshipping the lotus feet. Pada means feet.
Yeah.
Sevanam means serving. So serving the lotus feet of the Lord. Like the Pujari, like Bhakti Mala's having that good fortune, that she's serving the feet of the deities. You know, you've touched the feet of the deities, right?
Oh, Jagannath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So serving the feet of Gauranitai, Radha Gokulananda, Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, and, you know, touching their feet, massaging them with oils, putting flowers at their feet, you know, offering them dresses and everything like that. But also included within Padasevanam is serving devotees. How is that? Because it's said the devotee has taken shelter of the feet of the Lord. So the devotee, all devotees have taken shelter of the feet of the Lord. Isn't it very humbly we've surrendered our lives to Krishna? So it's like we've fallen down at his feet, taking, I surrender to you, Krishna. Please deliver me from all of my sinful activities, my sinful background. Please save me. Please deliver me. I take shelter of you. I surrender to you. So devotees have fallen down at the lotus feet of the Lord, taking shelter of him. So they're serving the devotees is also as good as serving the deity. So Padasevanam can mean serving the deity or serving the devotees. And how can you serve the devotees?
Oh, many ways.
Name some.
Well, there's a one devotee. He was doing the Prabhupada's head massage.
Yeah.
It's also
you can
service.
massage the devotee's body. Yep.
Yeah,
that's very good.
Yeah. And or cleaning the dishes, or bringing some
you can clean up their plates after they've eaten or anything like that. Do some cleaning of their room, clean the bathroom.
And if they wants to go to the temple and you go in the same direction, okay, hop in my car.
Yeah, you can drive them somewhere. When I was serving my guru, that was one of my services, is driving him here and there. Actually, going back several hundred years ago, there was one great acharya or spiritual teacher in our line named Narottam Das Thakur. He came after Lord Chaitanya had disappeared, and his spiritual master was Lokanath Maharaj, Lokanath Swami. So Lokanath would go toilet in the morning, as most people do. But in this time, hundreds of years ago, and most people, of course, previously used to live in the villages in the country. There weren't so many big cities. There were a few, like Hastinapur, which is like New Delhi and stuff like that now. There is some, Dwarka is a big city like that. But most people lived in village sort of situations, so they would go out in the forest and go to the toilet, and then they would have a bath afterwards. It's actually very cultured, that after going to the toilet, they would always have a bath. They would jump in some river like that, jump in the river and be clean after going to the toilet, and then put on clean clothes. So anyway, he had one area that he would go to the toilet, and then he would go in the river. But what he noticed was, because he was coming back to the same area every day to go toilet, it was a convenient place, and he noticed it was clean every day. And how can it be clean? Because I'd been toilet there previous days, so there should be some dirty business.
If it was a rainy day, different story. But if it's a quite sunny day,
but it wasn't happening like that. It wasn't
stool
rainy
should be
days.
there.
it should be there. Some mess should be there, but it wasn't there. It was completely clean. So one day he did his business, and then he hid in the bushes. And his disciple, Narottam, had come to clean up the area so that when his guru comes the next day, it will be clean again. So that's a very nice service, but very humble service, very humble service. So Lokanath, the guru, came out of the bushes and said, "What are you doing? How can you clean up after another man's stool? How can you do this?" And you were like a prince. He came from a very high aristocratic family, Narottam, and he gave up all of that, to serve Krishna, to serve a spiritual master and everything. So saying you come from such a elevated, high background and everything. How can you do such menial service, cleaning up another man's stool? And Narottam, he said that this is my greatest honor and privilege to do some menial service for such a great personality as you, such a pure spiritual master, elevated devotee. This is my great fortune to do this. And his spiritual master was just very, very pleased by his humble service attitude. So there's so many different ways, that we can serve. Some of them may be very humble ways. We know even in the final year, Prabhupada was very sick, 1977. He couldn't even get up, to go to the bathroom. So some devotees had that service to clean his body, to clean his body. He couldn't get up, go to the toilet. The nurses in the hospital have to do that, right? Some of the patients in the hospital, they can't get out of the hospital bed. And, but that's part of the service, that they have to clean the bodies, of those people that can't go to the toilet themselves and everything like that. So this is service. And, of course, ordinarily, some of these services may not be very, very happy to perform, but any service to please Krishna is actually, to please Krishna is really satisfying the heart. Is really satisfying the heart, and any devotee that experiences that, understands that it's very satisfying to the heart, no matter how humble the service is. But any service that pleases Krishna is satisfying the heart. So that's a nice little example of serving devotees.
Prayer is another one. Prayer.
Yeah, offering prayers, vandanam. So offering prayers, and this is in all religions, right? Christians pray to God and Muslims pray to God, and we also pray to God. And but often what we see in most religions, what are people praying for? They want something from God. God, give me some money. God, help me get a wife, a partner. God, help me pass my exams, so forth. Whereas the pure devotees' prayers are different. They're not asking anything from God. They're praying to God, please give me some service. How can I serve you? Please keep me engaged in devotional service. Please protect me so that I may never forget you and that I may never fall into Maya. Please keep me always in your service, under your shelter. So they are praying to do something for God, to give something to God, not to take something from God like that. So that's a different nature of the prayers, but praying is there in every religion. And then also there's sakyam, which means friendship. So that's also a service, a way that we can serve by seeing God as our best friend. You know, we have so many friends, but do we see God as our friend? So we should develop that mentality, like Arjuna, that Krishna is my best friend. So and you can serve in that way, and understanding that Krishna is my friend. And one time Prabhupada was saying to the devotees, you ever have any problem, you should go to the deity, go to, for example, Krishna and Balaram. Say, hey, Krishna, Balaram, you're my friend. You please help me. I have this problem. You please sort it out for me. You please help me. So that's what friends do. You know, friends help each other out, isn't it? A friend in, what is it they say? A
Friend in
friend
need,
in
friend
need
indeed.
is a friend indeed. A friend in need is a friend indeed. So you treat him as our friend. You know, you go to him if you ever have anything on your mind, any difficulty or any problem like that. Just talk with Krishna because he's your friend. Don't feel that you can't talk with him. Oh, he's God. You know, I can't approach him. No, don't think like that. We should realize he's our best friend. He's the person we should go to in any circumstance. If you're happy, go to Krishna and say, thank you, Krishna, for arranging these wonderful things. Thank you so much. And, you know, if anything bad happens, you can go to Krishna and cry. You know, Krishna, it's so difficult. I really need some help. Krishna, please save me. Please protect me. Like that. So we should have an intimate, and like that's what this verse is saying, right? Most intimately united with me in yoga, and is the highest of all. So you can have a very intimate relationship. The devotee has very intimate relationship with Krishna and treats Krishna as a friend. See, Krishna, he reciprocates with everyone according to their mentality. If you want to ignore Krishna, then Krishna will do what?
Ignore you.
Ignore you. If you want to fight with Krishna, what will Krishna do?
Oh, no chance. What are you talking about?
He'll fight, you know, like
No
come
chance.
support with Krishna. Yeah.
He will kill the blade of grass.
Yeah.
The fight will not happen.
Yeah. So according to how you relate to Krishna, he will feed that back. It will come back exactly the same way. He'll reciprocate just according to the way you're dealing with him. He'll deal with you the same way. And so let's go to chapter 4, text 11, which talks about this point of how Krishna reciprocates with everyone just according to their particular mentality and attitude and everything. 4th chapter, text 11.
As all surrender unto me, I rewarded them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respect, O son of Partha.
Yeah. Yeah, so in the purport, Prabhupada says part way down, one devotee may want Krishna as a supreme master, another as his personal friend, another as his son, and still another as his lover. Krishna rewards all the devotees equally according to different intensities of love for him. Yeah. So yeah, if you want Krishna to be your friend, he'll be your friend. He'll treat you as a friend if you treat him as one. If you want Krishna to be your child, he'll reciprocate with you as his parent. You'll become his parent. If you want him as a lover, then he'll treat you, he'll deal with you as a lover, and like that. So, and if you want to relate with Krishna as just light, that he's just light, the Brahman, then that's what you're going to get. Krishna will arrange that you just merge into the light. And if you want to forget Krishna, Krishna will reciprocate, and he'll never come into your mind. He'll never come into your life, and you'll be completely oblivious to God, completely ignorant of Krishna. You know, if that's what you want. So he gives everyone exactly what they desire. He's known as a wish-fulfilling desire tree, Kalpavriksha, wish-fulfilling desire tree. however you approach him, that's exactly what you get. Yeah. Does anyone want to say anything about that?
If we treat Krishna as a god, is he going to treat us as a god?
No, I mean, what I mean is, if you treat him as God, then he'll appear to you as just like God. Like,
Okay.
You worship with great awe and reverence and like that. So it'll be just awe and reverence and everything. Like the devotees that just see Krishna as like, he's like the powerful God, the controller, they'll end up going to the Vaikuntha lokas, where they worship Lord Narayan, Lakshmi Narayan. And on those planets, everyone is a servant, and Narayan is the master. So that's their desire, that he's God, you've got to serve him with great awe and reverence and everything. So he reciprocates, and he's your big powerful master and everything. But if you don't want to see him just as the all-powerful controller and master and supreme and everything like that, but if you want him as a friend, then you can go to Krishna Loka, Goloka Vrindavan, where Krishna has cowherd friends, and sometimes if they win a game, then Krishna has to carry them on his back.
Yeah.
And if Krishna's team wins, then Krishna rides on their back. But sometimes Krishna's team loses, and his friend will ride on Krishna's back. And they're not thinking that Krishna's God, because I mean, how can you ride on the back of God? That's offensive. That's sinful. No, but they're thinking Krishna's just my best friend, like that. And sometimes, like I said, they'll steal each other's lunch boxes. Sometimes they'll grab Krishna's lunchbox
Wow.
and eat something from Krishna's lunchbox, and
How
vice
lucky!
versa.
How lucky you are eating from
Yeah.
Krishna's lunchbox. Wow.
And if you desire to have Krishna as your lover, sometimes the lover gets upset with Krishna. Krishna, you're a rascal, Krishna. You didn't come when you said you were going to come and, dance with me or whatever like that. So, so sometimes Radharani gets angry with Krishna. And Krishna has to bow down at Radharani's feet and, please forgive me, Radharani, I'm sorry, just like acting like a henpecked, like Prabhupada talks about a henpecked husband. Krishna sometimes behaves like that, One time, even with Krishna's wives, one time Krishna went to the heavenly planet and he brought back a very special flower called the Parijata. The Parijata flower, highly fragrant flower, and it only grows in the heavenly planets, doesn't grow on Earth, or not at that time. So, and Krishna brought one of these special flowers and gave it to one of his wives, the first wife, Rukmini. But Krishna was married to 16,108 wives. So that created a bit of agitation and another wife, because one wife got the flower and another wife didn't get the flower. So Satyabhama carried that in her heart, that Krishna got the flower for Rukmini but not from me, so she was a bit upset. So Krishna knew her heart. So next time Krishna went to the heavenly planet, he plucked up a whole tree out of the ground, put it back on the back of Garuda, and planted it in Satyabhama's garden, just to make her feel happy.
The woman jealousy was from that time, since like
This is where
millions of
jealousy comes
years.
from. So there's nothing wrong with jealousy as long as it's connected to Krishna. And Krishna gets enjoyment from that, from having that, that the wives are like some competition, to get his favor, to get his attention, because it's
Jealousy and the
centered
love
around
together.
Krishna. What's that?
Jealousy and the love comes together, like they just side by side. When you love someone, that's why you get allowed to jealous.
Yeah, of course.
If you're not loving them, how can you be jealous?
Yeah. So this is, we want all these emotions to be centered around Krishna, and that's perfect. So if you want those kind of emotions, then you can be Krishna's lover, like that.
Okay,
So you get exactly what you desire.
I'm gonna have to go. I've got this really bad headache, and it's not going away. So I'm gonna head off.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Are you drinking plenty of water?
Yeah, I have been, but my throat's really sore too, so I'm not sure what's going on. But yeah, my head's just thumping, so I'm just gonna head off. But I'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Yeah, take care of your health. Have some ginger tea or something like that. May help to clear out whatever the bug is there or something.
Clove and a black pepper. Chew that before you go to bed.
All right, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Take care. Oh, that's no good. Yeah, Jayanti had heard that from her mother also, to chew on one clove and a black pepper at night before to go to bed. And he said,
Especially in
you'll
the
never
winter
get
time.
COVID or anything like that. That's what the mum had said. You'll never get any kind of virus or COVID or anything.
Mum's recipe, yeah.
Mum's recipe, yeah. One black peppercorn and one clove.
Yeah.
Chew on that.
That's why our toothpaste has got a clove in there.
Yeah, it's good for the toothache also.
Yeah.
It's, you know,
all that having a clove. So, Ayurveda.
So yeah, even when we're sick like that, you know, we should pray to Krishna, please help us, please save us. In all conditions of life, whether we're healthy or whether we're sick or whatever the situation is, always try to remember Krishna and think of Krishna. Okay, so let's get into the purport. Gulshan, you like to start reading the purport?
The word bhajante is significant here. Bhajante has its root in the verb bhaj, which is used when there is a need of service. The English word worship cannot be used in the same way as bhaj. Worship means to adore or to show respect and honor to the worthy one. But service with love and faith especially meant for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One can avoid worship as respectable man or a demigod and may be called a discourteous.
Yeah.
But one cannot avoid serving to Supreme Lord without being thoroughly condemned. Every living entity is a part and a parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus every living entity is indeed to serve the Supreme Lord by his own constitution. Failing to do this, he falls down. The Bhagavatam 11.53 confirms this is as follows. Yasam purasam sakha atman prabham ishwaram na bhajante ajvanti sthanam prate adhay. Anyone who does not render service and neglect his duty unto the primeval Lord, who is a source of all living entity, will certainly fall down from his constitutional position.
Let's stop there for now. So yeah, Prabhupada's just focusing on one word from this verse, bhajate, which is there, which means service. So service to Krishna must be done. Must be done. It's like not an optional thing. It should be there. Why do we say that? And Prabhupada's explained that in the verse. But why is it so essential that everyone serve Krishna? It's not just that, oh, if I feel like serving Krishna, I'll serve Krishna. If I don't feel like serving Krishna, oh, if I want to, but if I don't want to, oh, maybe I'll serve Krishna, but maybe not. It's not like that. Like it's mentioned, it's different services different than the word worship. Because, yeah, if I want to worship this person, I will worship them. But then if I don't want to, I won't. But service is different than the word worship. You know, worship is like an optional thing. You worship someone or you don't want to worship them. But service, Prabhupada's saying, is different. That service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to Krishna, must be done. So why is that? Why is it not really optional?
Um,
I was going to say because he asks for nothing in return and he gives us so much, but I don't think that's quite right.
service makes you to connect.
Well, hang on. It's good that you mentioned he gives us so much. So, yeah, that naturally we should want to serve Krishna because Krishna is giving us so much, like what you're saying, Bob. You know, he's giving us all the food that we eat, the water that we drink, the air that we breathe, the earth that we're standing on, you know, all these elements, they all come from Krishna. He's giving us so much. So, I mean, naturally, out of gratitude for getting so much service from God, you know, isn't God is serving us so much, he's giving us so much. Naturally, we should want to serve him. So, I mean, that is a good point. That is a good point. But still, it hasn't covered why, from our point of view, why we should think it's compulsory to serve Krishna. That it's not an optional thing.
Is it to do with going back to Godhead?
Definitely. I mean, if you want to go back to Godhead, it's compulsory. Because the only thing that's going on back to Godhead is everyone serving Krishna. If you don't want to serve Krishna, then forget about going back to Godhead. You're not going to be allowed. You're not going to be allowed to go back to Godhead. Yeah. Yeah.
It's connect you. You know, it's if you do
service connects us. Yep, service connects us.
Yeah, so
but
connection.
But if someone asks, if you say, then you know, then you should do devotional service, and someone says, no, I don't feel like it, I don't want to do it, but that's not correct. We should be thinking that we have to serve Krishna. We must serve Krishna. So, but why is that? But Prabhupada actually mentions it in that paragraph, the answer. I'll give you a clue. Your hand.
Yeah.
What's the relationship with your hand with your whole body?
Feeding.
Yeah, the hand puts food in the mouth and so forth. Whatever the body wants, whatever the whole body wants, you know, if the body wants, okay, you got to scratch the back of your head or whatever, like put your shirt on or whatever with your hands or whatever like that. So the function of the hand is to cooperate with the whole body, because the hand is what? The hand is part of the whole body, right?
We are part of the parcel of Krishna. So
yeah, we are part and parcel of Krishna. Krishna is like the whole body, and we are like the little finger or the little hand. So that's the normal condition of the part, is to serve the whole. The part has to cooperate for the pleasure of the whole. If the hand doesn't want to cooperate with the whole, doesn't want to serve the whole, that's dysfunctional. You know, if the hand says, no, I'm not going to put food in the mouth anymore. No, I'm not going to put your shirt on anymore. No, I'm not going to protect you anymore. You know, I'm not going to put the glasses on anymore. Then what's the purpose of that hand? Does it have any value anymore? If the hand doesn't want to work together with the body anymore, then does it have any value, any use?
Don't need the hand anymore then.
That's no use. It might as well be cut off, you know. So the hand only has value when it's working for the satisfaction of the whole body, to put the food in the stomach, to help with protecting the body and so forth, carrying things or whatever. But if it doesn't want to do that, then it has no value. That is the purpose of the hand, to work for the satisfaction of the whole body. So in the same way, we're part of God. So our purpose, our function is simply and only to serve God, to please God. If we don't want to do that, like it's saying, we've fallen down. What did it say at the end? It said, anyone who does not render service and neglects his duty unto the primeval Lord, who is the source of all living beings, will certainly fall down from his constitutional position. So it's just like that. If you don't want to serve Krishna, it's like, okay, well, we'll just cut the hand off. It's just useless. There's no value. So that's as it mentions that word duty. So service to Krishna, that's our duty. What does duty mean? What does the word duty mean? What does it mean to you guys? If you have a duty to do.
Responsibility.
Yeah. It's something you must do, isn't it? It's something you have to do, isn't it? If you have a duty.
Like the mother feed the child, no matter
Yeah,
what.
that's the duty of the mother, to feed the child. It's not, well, I don't feel like feeding the child today. I'm going to go out to the movies.
He'll die.
It's going to die. No, she must. The mother must. She should think that, I have to look after this child. I must
She
look
thinks
after the
child
child.
before herself.
Yeah, she puts the child before herself. If she puts herself before the child, there's something wrong.
Yeah, child is not going to make it, yeah.
Oh, it's too difficult, feeding my child. I'm going to leave and go on a holiday. I need a holiday. I'm just going to go and leave, and the child can just look after itself. No, that's not the way it works. No normal mother thinks like that. So that's the duty. Duty is something that must be done. So from the soul's point of view, we must render service to the Supreme Soul. And like it's saying here, that who is the source of all living entities? So there's a source of all of us. We all come from Krishna. We're part of Krishna. He's the Supreme Father. He's the Supreme Whole. And we're all part of him. We've come from him. So it's our natural function, our natural purpose is to render service to him. So service to Krishna, devotional service, is very natural. It's not an artificial thing. All the service you Hare Krishnas do, it's all very artificial, no, it's not. It's very natural. It's normal. This is like it's the normal for the hand to put the food in the mouth. So it's just like fully normal and natural to chant Krishna's names and to hear about Krishna and talk about Krishna and worship Krishna and serve Krishna and everything. It's just as normal as the hand working together for the whole body, because we're part of Krishna. So that's very natural, very normal.
That's why that number of devotees are increasing. When the Prabhupada start from the first one devotee, now is a worldwide 9.5 million devotees.
Wow.
So
yeah,
definitely there is some benefit there. That's why the numbers are increasing.
Yeah. So although it's so natural, so normal, then we might ask, well, why are so many people not serving Krishna if it's so natural, so normal? And that is because of
ignorance, bad association.
Yeah. And therefore, when Prabhupada came, what is he giving? Knowledge. So he's giving knowledge to take away this ignorance, where people are under illusion and ignorance, and they're forgetting who they are.
They were sitting in the dark room, and the Prabhupada came with the torch of knowledge. And then the darkness only go with the torch.
In the material world, we're like, the soul is like someone that's having amnesia. You know what is the amnesia? They forget who they are, so it is possible. You know,
Yes.
just like someone that has a severe accident, a bang on the head or something, an accident, then they
Keep
may
forgetting
forget.
some. Yeah.
I don't know what my name is. I don't know where I live. I don't know who my
And
family is.
sometimes
I
their
don't.
memory lasts only maybe a 5, 10, 20 minutes. And they come and ask again and again, what's your name again?
Yeah, yeah. So just like people get amnesia, also that the soul can also forget its own identity, that we forget that we're a soul, we forget that we're a servant of Krishna, and we misidentify ourselves with the body. So just like that can happen with someone that gets amnesia, some accident, it can also happen with the soul, that we get covered by Krishna's illusory energy, the Maya Shakti, the Maya illusory energy. So, and then that's also, Krishna's reciprocated. Why we got covered by ignorance and illusion? Krishna's reciprocating with what we desired. If like, just like if the hand desires, no, I don't want to put food in the mouth anymore, then okay, so you do that then. So Krishna's allowing us to do that. If you don't want to serve Krishna, then okay, the soul gets taken out of the spiritual will, gets
You got
put
a
in the
free will.
material. You have free will. So if you don't want to serve Krishna, but the point here is we should think it's our duty. It's insane, actually. It's completely crazy or insane for the soul not want to serve Krishna. It's like we're cutting ourselves off from the whole body. It's ridiculous. But still, it's your choice. I mean, if you want to do that, we're not going to stop you if you want to cut your hand off. But I mean, it's crazy. It's completely crazy. So that's why it's said that
That, that's why those
the
who are
soul
not
and the
doing the
material.
service, they
Yeah.
are like, they like a depressed, or sometimes they are like, in a depression and all. But you cannot see depressed devotee. Either he's a devotee or he's depressed. He cannot be depressed devotee. It doesn't make sense.
Hmm.
So either depressed or a devotee. So if you're a devotee, you cannot be depressed, 100%.
Hmm.
So if
Of
you don't
course,
do service,
we're trying to be a devotee, so there's still some ups and downs in the beginning. But yeah,
yeah,
once
every
we
every path
pass
you
that,
go, there's the
yeah,
ups and down in every path, even a marriage.
yeah,
Beginning to know someone, your
mm,
wife, and living under the one roof, of course, got to be bumpy road,
mm,
definitely.
mm, mm,
So, but it's your choice. Do you want to take a challenge, or you
mm.
be run away?
But yeah, that is the symptom of being advanced in Krishna consciousness, that one's always happy, always joyful.
And it
And
depends, like
let's look at
association,
that
they're lifting you
verse.
up. Association
Let's
lift you up.
Yeah, let's look at that verse.
Which one?
18th chapter, text 54.
54.
Yeah, 18th chapter, text 54. Do you want to read that, Bob, if you've got it?
Close.
One who
Okay.
is. Oh, you can go above.
Okay. One who is thus transcendently situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed towards every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me.
Hmm.
Mm.
So this is a person on the spiritual platform, a soul on the spiritual platform. What is the situation? Is that always happy and never desiring for anything, never hankering and never lamenting. In the materialistic consciousness, one is always full of material desires. I want this, I want that. And then when you don't get what you want, then what do?
You get depressed, upset,
Then you
anger.
lament. Yeah, so that's that depression or lamentation. I had this desire and I didn't get it, and then you depressed, or then you lament. So material consciousness is on one side you're hankering and desiring for things, and then the other side is when you don't get what you desire, then you depressed and lament like that. But the spiritual platform is there's no more material desires, and because of that, then there's no more lamentation, depression. Also, one's always happy. always satisfied. So that's when we've reached the spiritual platform.
Sorry, was that 1854 I went to?
Yeah.
Oh, really? You read that, and of course.
Yeah. So this is it. This is our normal situation of the soul, to be always happy. That's the real nature of the soul.
It's
to be
even
always
even in the Bhagavatam, it's mentioned that 9 rasa. In one of the rasa, it's Vatsalya. It's a one hasya rasa, which is comedy. So all the rasas, there are 9 rasa, and one of them is a hasya rasa. So
yeah, laughing, happiness. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, let's continue.
So yeah, we should, getting back to what we've just talked about in this first paragraph, we should understand that devotional service is the natural function of every soul. It's not just a matter of, oh, I feel like serving God or I don't feel like serving God. No, everyone should think, that's my duty to serve God. I'm part of God. He is the complete whole and I'm part of him. It's my natural function, my natural purpose is to please him, and by some service, by try to please him by whatever service I can do. So everyone should understand that. Everyone should think like that. If we don't think like that, that means we've fallen down, into ignorant situation and ignorance, and we're destined to, suffer. And that's what we experience. In the world, there's so much suffering, and this is because we've cut ourselves off, just like you cut your hand off. So it's just we've cut ourselves off from Krishna by not wanting to serve him, and what's the result is that we're suffering in so many ways. So the solution is that we reconnect, and that's what yoga means, right? So it's saying here, is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. So that's the purpose of yoga. Yoga means to link, to connect. So we've become disconnected, which is called V-yoga. V-yoga means you're disconnected. So we want to reconnect, and that's called yoga. So that's the whole purpose of yoga. We want to connect with God. Our hand's been cut off, so we're connecting the hand back with the body again. And that's our normal condition of life. Okay, Bob, do you want to read the next paragraph, please? So from when Gulshan finished off, so you're starting in this verse.
Anyone who does not render service...
No, not yet, no.
Sorry.
You say in this verse is a line, but it says in this verse is a verse. In this verse also word as the bhajanti is used.
Yes, from there. Have you found that, Bob? So one paragraph down from what we're reading, 647 today, there's a bit of Sanskrit, there's one more sentence, and then it starts in this verse. Also the word bhajanti is used.
In this verse, is that what it is?
Yes.
Okay. In this verse also the word bhajanti is used. Therefore, bhajanti is applicable to the Supreme Lord only, whereas the word worship can be applied to demigods or to any other common living entity. The word avajanti used in this verse of Sri Bhagavatam is also found in the Bhagavad Gita. Avajanti mam madha, only the fools and rascals deride the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. Such fools take it upon themselves to write commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita without an attitude of service to the Lord. Consequently, they cannot properly distinguish between the word bhajanti or the word worship. Do you want me to keep going?
No, that's good for now. That's good for now. So yeah, so service applies to God, and that must be done. But the worship, that's like an optional thing. Like you can use the word worship for like demigods, and that's optional. Whether you worship a particular demigod, Shiva or Ganesh or Brahma or whatever, if you want to or not want to, like that. Or other, like it's saying, other common living entities, you will worship your parents, right? But that's optional. You worship your parents, or you worship the cow. You worship the mother cow, like that. You worship so many things. But our relationship with God is a different category. Everyone must worship God. Must serve God. Everyone must serve God because we're part of God. But our relationship with other living entities, whether they're demigods or other beings, you can worship particular ones, but that's like optional. And if we don't serve the Lord, then we're like fools and rascals, as it's saying here. And then Prabhupada's quoting this verse from Bhagavad Gita, Avajananti Mam Mudha. So we can go to that verse. That's chapter 9, text 11. Chapter 9, text 11.
Fool drives me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature as the Supreme Lord of all that be.
So deride means to blaspheme or criticize. It's a very heavy word. So people that are ignorant, they criticize Krishna when he comes to the material world. It may seem like he's an ordinary human being. The way some of his actions, it seems like he was an ordinary human being. Like I said, if you want to have him as your child, he'll be like your child and you're his parent. So sometimes it seemed like Krishna was an ordinary child, isn't it? When, he was stealing butter and feeding it to the monkeys, and his mother chased after him and tied him up and everything like that. So many times we may misunderstand and think that, Krishna's an ordinary person. Oh, Krishna he got married and he had children and everything like that. So we might think Krishna's an ordinary person, but that's ignorance. That's a lack of knowledge. Krishna's actually the Supreme Lord of everything. So that's a lack of knowledge if we think that Krishna's an ordinary human being. But it's possible to think like that because he did come to the material world and he lived amongst human beings, and he had relationships with them. So people with a lack of knowledge, they think that Krishna was just a human being, but actually he's not a human being. He's God. He's God in a human form. He's God in a human form, but that human form was actually spiritual form. It's unlimited. Like what we're saying, his mother looked in his mouth and saw the whole universe. But if you just looked at him from outside, you might think, oh, that's just a beautiful boy, although he, is blue color and everything, but a beautiful, beautiful boy. But then, if you get closer and you look in his mouth, and then you see the whole universe and you realize he's not. Or that when he's 7 years old, he lifts a mountain with one finger and you realize he's not an ordinary person. But many people think he's just an ordinary person and therefore they don't worship him. So that's a reason why people don't serve. Why do people not serve Krishna? Because they're ignorant of his glories. They don't know that he's God, that he's unlimitedly powerful, unlimitedly beautiful, unlimitedly famous, unlimitedly wealthy. Like that they don't know his opulences. Bhagavan means possessing all opulences. So they don't have full knowledge. So what does a devotee mean? A devotee means a person that has full knowledge. Because they have full knowledge, then the result of that is that they serve Krishna. If you're not serving Krishna, it means you don't have full knowledge, it means you're in ignorance, and because of that ignorance, you're not serving Krishna. So the solution is, like Prabhupada is propagating all this knowledge, giving us Bhagavad Gita as it is, and he traveled all around the world and teaching people about who Krishna really is. And then naturally, when people realized that Krishna's God, then they started to serve him. Would anyone like to say anything about that? Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, ignorance of Krishna, then people will stop serving, and then knowledge of Krishna, and then people will start to serve him. Okay, Gulshan, you want to continue on there?
The culmination of all kind of yoga practice lies in bhakti yoga. All other yogas are but means to come to the point of bhakti in bhakti yoga. Yoga actually means bhakti yoga. All other yogas are progression towards the destination of bhakti yoga. From the beginning of karma yoga to the end of bhakti yoga is a long way to self-realization. Karma yoga without fruitive result is the beginning of this path. When karma yoga increase in knowledge and renunciation, the stage is called jnana yoga. When jnana yoga increase in meditation on the super soul by a different physical process and the mind is on him, is called ashtanga yoga. And when one surpass the ashtanga yoga and come to the point of Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, it is called bhakti yoga. The culmination, actually, bhakti yoga is the ultimate goal. But to realize bhakti yoga minutely, one has to understand these other yogas. The yogi who is progressive in therefore on the true path of eternal God fortune.
Good fortune.
One who sticks to a particular point and does not make a further progress is called by that particular name Karma Yoga, Jnana Yogi, or Dhyana Yogi, Raja Yogi, Hatha Yogi, etc. If one is fortunate enough to come to the point of Bhakti Yoga, it is to be understood that he has surpassed all other yogas. Therefore, to become Krishna conscious is the highest stage of yoga. Just as when we speak of Himalayan, we refer to world highest mountains, of which the highest peak, Mount Everest, is considered to be culmination. Culmination.
So culmination means the topmost. That's like the peak, the topmost of yoga. The culmination of yoga is bhakti yoga. That means the topmost yoga, the peak.
Okay. It is by great fortune that one comes to Krishna consciousness on the path of bhakti yoga to become well situated according to the Vedic directions. The ideal yogi concentrates his attention on Krishna, who is called Shama Sundar, who is beautiful, colored as a cloud, whose lotus-like face is a effulgence. What's that mean?
Effulgent means very bright, very brilliant.
As sun. Okay. Who dresses is brilliant with the jewel, and whose body is flowered garland, illuminating all sides is his gorgeous lotus, which is called Brahma Jyoti. He incarnate in different forms such as Rama, Narasimha, Vasha, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he descend like a human being as the son of Mother Yashoda, and he is known as Krishna, Govinda, and Vasudeva. He is a perfect child, husband, friend, and a master, and he is full with all opulence and transcendental qualities. If one remains fully conscious of these features of the Lord, he is called the highest yogi. This stage of highest perfection is in yoga can be attained only by bhakti yoga as confirmed in Vedic literature. Continue that? Okay.
Bob, you can keep reading. We're nearly at the end of the purport. Let's finish it.
Only unto those great souls who have implicit faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master are all the imports of Vedic knowledge automatically revealed. Bhakti asya bhajanam, bhajanam tad samutra padahi ne, oh God,
Rasyena Mushmin.
Oh,
yeah,
Mana
mouthful.
Kalpanam.
Nasyara numen nama kalpanan
Yeah.
etad eva
Nice karmyam.
Naskayam.
Well, that was a real tongue twister.
Yeah, bhakti means devotional service to the Lord, which is free from desire of material profit, either in this life or in the next. Devoid of such inclinations, one should fully absorb the mind in the Supreme. That is the purpose of Naskayam.
Nice karmya. Nice karmya.
Naskayam. Right on.
And it goes over the page, just one more sentence.
Yep. These are some of the means for performance of bhakti or Krishna consciousness, the highest perfectional stage of the yoga system. Thus end the Bhagavad Gita purports of the 6th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of dhyana yoga.
Bhakti Vedanta. Bhakti Vedanta. So that's part of Prabhupada's title. His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Bhaktivedanta. So Bhakti means devotional service, and Veda means knowledge, and Anta means the end, the culmination. So that's his title. That the culmination, the end of all knowledge is Bhakti. Bhaktivedanta. Bhakti means devotional service. Veda means knowledge. Anta means the end or the culmination, the topmost. So Bhaktivedanta. So he was given that title. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So yeah, the Bhakti is the culmination of all yogas. And Prabhupada explains it very nicely. We read it earlier on, partway through the purport. That yoga actually means bhakti yoga. So that's the topmost yoga is bhakti. That all other yogas are meant to come to that purpose of that point of bhakti, of love for Krishna. This is the essence of what Krishna is. Krishna is the Supreme Person, and he loves us. He wants to have a loving relationship with each of us. That's why he expanded himself. Why did God expand himself into all of us tiny souls? Why? I'll give you an example. Why does a man create a family?
Because he loves that.
Yeah, he's in the beginning, the man is by himself, so why does he expand himself? By having a family, wife and children. Why have children? Why have a wife and have children?
Because he loves his wife, that's why you want to have children.
And why do you have the children? Also, because you want to have loving relationships.
Yeah.
You want to have a loving relationship with the wife. You want to have a loving relationship with the children. You want to have a loving relationship with friends. Why do you have friends? Because you want to have a loving relationship. And love means service. That you want to have a relationship of serving, giving and taking a service. Love means service. So why did Krishna expand himself? Originally, Krishna is by himself. Why did he expand himself into all of us? Because he wants to enter into loving relationships with us and have so many friends and so many lovers and so many parents and so many servants, and in that way so many loving relationships. So this is the essence of everything. Without bhakti, without love, nothing really has any real taste, any real enjoyment, isn't it? If there was no love in our relationships, would you maintain those relationships?
It wouldn't last.
No, if there was if you felt no love with your friends, or no love with your parents, or no love with your kids, or no love with
I
your
think
partner,
that's natural. You cannot do that. It just
you can't.
comes with the nature.
That's what I mean. That's why he's saying that yoga actually means bhakti yoga. So, because bhakti means like love, loving service. So that's in everything is love. You can't, if you take love out of anything, it's like just an empty shell. That everything has some love in it. But what do we want to get to the point where it's full love? And that's what bhakti yoga is. But even these other yogas he mentions, from the beginning of karma yoga to the end of bhakti yoga, is a long way to self-realization. Sometimes Prabhupada compares yoga to a ladder, and there's different rungs on a ladder, right? So the first rung of the ladder, what's the first rung of the ladder? Of the yoga ladder. Imagine the yoga is like a ladder, and each process is like one rung on the ladder. So what's the first rung, according to what he's saying here?
Karma yoga?
Karma yoga, yeah, karma. So karma means you're doing activities. That's what karma means, activities. But you're giving and each activity that you do produces a result, whether it might be money, or it might be food, or whatever it is. So that result, you give it to God, give it to Krishna. And then when you give the results of your activities to Krishna, to God, then you're called a karma yogi. You're a karma yogi. If you do your work, your activities, and you give the results of the work, or part of the results of the work, to God, you're called a karma yogi. And then it's saying that's the beginning of the path. When karma yoga increases in knowledge and renunciation, so that means detachment, the stage is called jnana yogi. So when you do that, you do your work and you give some of the results of your work to God, then you're a karma yogi, and that person gets more knowledge about God. And then as a result of the knowledge, he becomes more detached from his work and his activities in the world. So as he gets more detached and renounced, then he becomes known as a jnana yogi. When the jnana yogi is more detached from the material world than the karma yogi is more detached. Why is he more detached from the world? Because he has more knowledge than the karma yogi. So when that materially detached person increases on meditation on the super soul by different physical processes, and the mind is on him, it is called Ashtanga yoga. So then he becomes
That's what Joshua did, Ashtanga yoga, is it?
Yeah, but at the modern day Ashtanga yoga, they don't meditate on the super soul. So it's not the real Ashtanga yoga. Real Ashtanga yoga.
Exercise.
Yeah, it's just exercises and some breathing and make the body look good and attractive like that. But this is real Ashtanga yoga, so very detached from the material world, and then they go to a solitary place like in the forest somewhere all by themselves, and they sit down and meditate on the super soul. Mind is completely absorbed in thinking of the super soul like that. And then even more advanced than meditating on the super soul, and Prabhupada's saying here, comes to the point of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So earlier is meditating on the super soul, and then progressing more in knowledge, more love, to the point of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. So that's called Bhakti Yoga. So there's nothing more than that. That's the topmost rung on the yoga ladder is Bhakti Yoga. But of course, within Bhakti Yoga, you can keep increasing the love, because love is something that, oh, I've got all the love and that's it, end of story. No, the love just keeps on going more and more and more and more. So even amongst Bhakti Yogis, there's devotees that have more love than other devotees, and even more, even more, even more. So there's different levels or stages of Bhakti Yoga also. And the topmost devotee who has the most intense love for Krishna, who's that? Who has the most love for Krishna?
The Bhakti Yogi.
Yeah, of all Bhakti Yogis. So there's
Okay.
unlimited Bhakti Yogis, unlimited millions and billions and trillions in the spiritual world and some in the material world. So of all of them, who has the most bhakti, the most love?
Radharani.
Yeah, Radharani. Yeah, Radharani. So yeah, the love can just keep on going more and more and more and more. And then that's the beauty of love, that it's unlimited. It's unlimited. And remember, love means service. So because the service just keeps on going. You know, you serve more, and then the more you serve, the more feelings you have for the person, and it just gets more and more and more and more. The service never stops. So the love never stops. Like that. And but what we shouldn't do is just stick to one rung on the ladder. Oh, I'm a karma yogi. Oh, that's it. I'm just staying there. No, no. If you get on the ladder, what's the point? What's the point of you getting on the ladder? Where do you want to get to? Do you want to just stay on the second step? You want to get to the top of the ladder. Why are you staying on the second step? You're just going to stay there. I'm just going to stay on the second step of the ladder. No. The whole idea is to go from the bottom of the ladder to the top of the ladder. And then, you know, to wherever you're going. But don't just stay on one particular rung of the ladder. So this is a problem, whether you think, you know, that, oh, I'm a karma yogi, that's it. Or I'm a jnana yogi, that's it. I'm an Ashtanga yogi, that's it. Or, you know, I'm a Christian, that's it. You know, I'm a Buddhist, that's it. You know, there's nothing more than that. That means you're stuck on a particular rung. We should keep trying to go further, get more knowledge, more understanding, and more love for God, you know, more understanding about who God is. So we should never think we know everything about God. You know, we should always be wanting to learn more and more. Even within Bhakti Yoga, you can go higher and higher and higher and higher. You know, not just that you're chanting 16 rounds and following 4 regulated principles and that's it. No, there's so much more. Like, you know, Haridas Thakur was chanting 192 rounds a day.
Wow.
You know, so don't think, oh, I'm chanting 16 rounds, that's it. No. The more advanced, the more love you have, you never want to stop chanting.
But after 16 round chanting, there's one kind of calmness comes there. It's like a kind of a yes. It just, I don't know what's called a feeling. After 16th round, it just feel like yes. I don't know. Because Prabhupada says 16 round and 16 round feel like yes. I feel like I did, you know, what the Prabhupada
Yeah,
said.
well, you've followed the instructions of your spiritual master, so you feel internally very happy. I mean, that's one thing that you could be feeling, that, you know, I've did what my spiritual master wanted me to do, and you feel very satisfied that you've carried out that instruction. And definitely you're getting his blessings. You're receiving his blessings because you followed his instruction. So your life is becoming blessed and auspicious because of following his instructions. Yeah. That's nice. Thank you for sharing that, Gulshan.
It's just one of those things, has to be. The photo is there. Prabhupada's photo is always like when you come in there, you can see that. It's good to have Prabhupada's photo because it's like he's watching.
Yeah.
Everything you do is watching, and through him, Krishna is watching.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. So let's all try to go higher and higher and higher. That's, and by following the spiritual master's
So
instructions.
next Thursday class, would you be doing a face-to-face or?
Well, I'll be in Newcastle next
Yeah.
Thursday. So whatever you want to do, I'm at your service.
Now you
I'm at your service.
be busy in if you got a dental appointment, I don't know how you feel like and things
No, but
like.
that's earlier in the day. That's earlier in the day. So
Are
that's
you
no
able
problem.
to talk and things, or you be in the
Yeah, it's not nothing.
pain and
It's
having
not
a rest?
major. It's not major surgery. It's just cosmetic stuff on my teeth.
Yeah,
So.
Okay.
So yeah, but there's no room out the back of the bhakti tree anymore. So
we can
do
front of the bhakti tree in the main like a black table near the music system.
Yep.
Bhakti tree will be closed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like a 2 to 5:30 close. So same time, like 3 o'clock to 4:30 in the bhakti tree.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do it 3 till
Good.
4:30.
Face to face, Bob.
Yep, I'll be there.
I'll let Bhakti Mala know, and then that'll be great.
Right, wonderful.
Have a safe flight, Abhay.
Thank you, Bob.
You and Gianni, and I look forward to seeing you.
Yeah.
Yes, likewise. Yeah.
So Monday you're coming there. You'll be staying in the farm for a couple of days, is it? Or you staying in Sydney? When you coming to Bhakti Tree?
We're going to the farm.
Okay, when you coming to Bhakti Tree? Wednesday, is it?
Well, that's what I got to work out how to get back from the farm. Either on Wednesday night I come back to the farm, or Thursday morning. To the Newcastle. So, sorry, what am I talking about? Yeah, either Tuesday night or Wednesday morning I have to get from the farm to Newcastle.
We can ask Krishna to send the Garud.
You'll work out something. Otherwise, we can catch a bus, I suppose, from Cessnock to
Krishna
Newcastle.
will arrange that. Just put a little application there, a little piece of paper, and leave the Krishna's lotus feet. He'll arrange that.
I'll ask my friend Krishna to help out.
That's right.
Okay, take care, all of you.
Hare Krishna.
Bye-bye. Haribol.